It looks like the Leafs have a huge issue on their hands with one of the core four not playing up to the standard we know them to be playing to. There are some questionable decisions being made by Sheldon Keefe lately. And is some of the play from some of the Leafs players affecting Nylander's eventual new contract extension? Guys, welcome back to another episode of Leafs Digest. My name is Darius Domingues, and before we get any further, we've noticed that about 80% of our viewers are not actually subscribed to the channel. So if you could go ahead and do myself and the other content creators a favor and hit that subscribe button to stay up to date with everything Toronto Maple Leafs. All right, guys, let's get right into it. The player I am talking about, of course, who is not playing up to standard this year, in my eyes at least, is Mitch Marner. Mitch Marner is certainly struggling this year. We'll get into it. Obviously, over point a game player. So it seems kind of weird to say that he is struggling, but for his standards, not the greatest season so far. And we'll go right back to last night's game to start there. This tweet here from LeafsBurner97. Now, keep in mind, obviously not a reporter or anything, all right? But just some view that I share with this account as well. So Mitch had near 23 minutes of ice time last night and did absolutely nothing. And it's true. He did a whole lot of, dipsy doodling in the neutral zone and a little bit against, on the near boards in the offensive zone and, didn't do much offensively whatsoever. And Keefe has zero to shift the guys going, to shift the guys, to get the guys going, or to, for someone to take a seat. He doesn't bench any of the top players ever. They're always out there, one after another, always going. And that's something I've been critical of, especially since he's taken over. There's, very little accountability in the top six, I find. He has had no problem benching players in the past, and even Bertuzzi earlier this season, I do have to give him credit for that. Michael Bunting in the past, but it seems like there is zero accountability for the top guys at times because Mitch can do all this dipsy doodling that he did in London in his junior days, and he doesn't get benched for it in a game where they need a goal, and they should have killed Ottawa, if you really think about it. Ottawa's last in the conference. They're really struggling. Captain Brady Tkachuk came out last week and said this is the worst he's felt in the NHL. Like, it's just not a good vibe right now. And the Leafs let them beat them on home ice. That's not a good sign. And obviously Marner, Matthews had a good game. Didn't score, basically did, but it went off a nice skate. But Marner did not, in my eyes, have a great game. And the Leafs, to pivot from Marner for a second, I do want to get back to Marner, but to pivot from Marner, the Leafs have been playing down to competition this year, and it's been a problem for as long as I can remember, really, that they've been good at least. They are 2-5-2 against Buffalo, Columbus, Chicago, and Ottawa, 4 of the bottom 7 teams in the NHL. And they're 15-4-4 against everybody else this year because of course they are the Toronto Maple Leafs, and this is what they do. They play down to their competition. It's very odd. I thought they came out and started the game well last night, like a lot of energy, not like their usual selves where they get scored on first and they look dead in the first 10 minutes. I thought they started the game pretty good, but this has been a problem. And next game against Columbus, they'll probably come out the same way, flat. They just don't seem like they're ready to go half the time. And I don't know what that is. I don't know if that's a mental preparedness thing that the players aren't doing, that they're saying they're doing. If it's Keefe just not getting them pumped up before the game. I don't know what it is, but they have to address that because it's an issue. It is absolutely an issue. It's arguably one of the most glaring issues they've ever had in this era under Keefe and Babcock. So that is absolutely something they have to do. But to pivot back to Marner, because he does kind of fall into this category as well. Let's take a look. Let's just take a look at his stats quick. All right. So this is this year all of his stats. Had a pretty good year the last 2 years, of course, and then before that some shortened seasons and some injuries as well. But if you take a look at this year, 36 points in 32 games. Now, that is just above point a game player. Do just above point a game players make $11 million in the NHL? That's my question. Like, do they really? Like, if we look at his comparables, and we're going to, he's just a point a game player. Like, it's nothing fantastic. He's not blowing anyone out of the water. He's just keeping pace. And I'm not sure that a player of that caliber makes $11 million in the NHL. All right. I think Marner, and we'll talk about playing out of contracts. Marner's playing more at a rate of like an $8 to $9 million player. And let's take a look at another comparable making, around what Mitch Marner is actually making, Artemi Panarin. With the New York Rangers this year, 46 points in 33 games. He's kind of running away with it. He'll probably finish the season with, I don't know, somewhere north of 110 points, maybe 120 points, something like that on the pace he's on. And the Rangers are doing really, really, really well. They're first in the Eastern Conference. They've had a great season. They're putting it together, and he's been a big part of that, and he makes difference maker money. So does Mitch Marner. So there's my comparison. Why aren't you making a difference in the games? You come into a game where you're playing the worst team in your conference, and you lose, and you do nothing. That's concerning to me. That is not good at all. I'm very concerned about this moving forward, because he does have his contract coming up. And I think this affects Nylander as well, because Nylander's probably looking at him like, I want more than this guy. Like, I'm putting in more work and having a better season. Anyway, I am very concerned about Mitch Marner's next contract, because he's going to ask for a lot again. And I don't think the Leafs can bend. And like I just mentioned, Nylander's looking at Marner right now and going, I'm outperforming him on all levels. I'm the best winger on this team. I need to make more than him. So that's going to handicap the Leafs there. And then when Marner's contract is up, he's going to ask for more, and I don't think he deserves it. I think he's going to this is going to be the first player in, entering his prime with a contract extension coming up that is going to have to take a pay cut, because he's not a bad player. Like I said, point of game player, but he's not a difference maker, and he makes difference maker money. So I feel like there's going to be a significant pay cut there. There has to be, to make things work for the team, or he's gone. Either one. But anyway, I think he's really anchoring the team, especially in the playoffs, because, again, it's the same story in the playoffs year in, year out with this guy. And, yeah, he makes difference maker money, and he doesn't make a difference. So you do the math on that. You tell me what you think about that. But anyway, let's shift gears a little bit to talk about something a little bit more positive, all right? Gio is back. It looks like he's going to insert back into the lineup against Columbus later this week, or I think the game is tomorrow night, actually. It's, in between that week of Christmas and New Year's, everything's crazy. But anyway, Gio is back. They interviewed Mark Giordano. He feels ready to go, which is a great sign for Leafs fans. Taking a look at the defense pairings in practice, with Mark Giordano coming back, McCabe shifts to the right side, and he's going to play with Benoit. I like that pairing, actually. I think that's going to add a lot of grit. Giordano's going to come in with Liljegren, like that as well. I'm kind of sad that Legisson's going to take a break. He's going to have to sit now, but honestly, I think Gio's just obviously a better defenseman, veteran, is going to make a difference. So it's going to be nice to have Gio back in the lineup. One of my favorite players since he's come to Toronto on the back end there. Love his fire. All right. I love everything he brings. So to get him back in the lineup is going to be huge. But I do still think they should give him a break, probably around like February-ish, or even the rest of the way, just kind of load manage him, just because you don't want him getting too exhausted or tired or run down before the playoffs. You need a guy like this for the playoffs, so keep him healthy, all right? And with that being said, last thing I'll touch on, Sheldon Keefe. Making some questionable decisions, not going to lie. Didn't like last night in the game against Ottawa. Pulls the goalie with almost 4 minutes left and you're only down by 1. I understand if you're down by 2 or 3, but down by 1, I feel like they were really bringing it to Ottawa, and I feel like that empty netter with, what was it, just under 3 minutes to go kind of killed the game. It really killed any momentum they had, and I know they had an offensive zone faceoff, but I feel like they were dictating play up until that point. Questionable decision in my eyes. If you feel differently, I don't blame you, but I didn't know what was going on with that pull. And then another questionable decision. I know you can't run Martin Jones into the ground, but he's been playing well, -1 goal against the Ottawa Senators. But here we are again against Columbus, and Ilya Samsonov is going to go back into the net. Sheldon Keefe explains why he believes having a few days off from the game benefited Ilya Samsonov, who looks good in practice, according to Keefe. And, Samsonov has obviously been struggling prior to the Christmas break, and Samsonov will start against Columbus in the Leafs' next game. Like I said, I know you can't run Martin Jones into the ground, but oh boy, Ilya Samsonov does not have much confidence right now, and I know there's no other way to build the back up than to play probably, lesser opponents, lesser quality competition. So it does make sense for him to go in against Columbus, but I'm a little worried because his last game against Buffalo, he did not give the team a single chance. The team didn't play well either, but he didn't give them a single chance to win that game. So should be interesting. I'm rooting for him. Let me just make that clear. I'm rooting for Ilya Samsonov. I hope he finds his confidence, and I hope he gets everything back so he can be the starting goaltender of this team. But as it stands right now, I get a little bit nervous when he gets in net. All right, I get a little bit nervous because I just feel like Martin Jones and Joseph Woll, obviously injured right now, but when he does play, very calming presence. I like that out of a goaltender, and I've liked that so far out of Martin Jones. And obviously, you're going to let in some bad goals, so just take that one from yesterday and you move on. But yeah, I don't know what to think. Hopefully, the Leafs pull out another win against Columbus. Weird schedule. Played them 3 times in the last 2.5 weeks. Really odd, and then they don't play them again for the rest of the year. But hopefully they get another win against Columbus, get the points you need. You desperately need these points against lesser opponents, all right? So let me know in the comments what you think about some of the questionable things Keefe has been doing lately. If you agree with some of the decisions he's made, let me know if you agree about Mitch Marner's play this season. I don't know. This has not been the season of Mitch Marner thus far. It's been quite interesting to watch. So yeah, let me know what you think in the comments, and Nick and I'm sure we'll be back for another video tomorrow.